Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 155 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Charlie from Wallflower Merch in Florida. Let's go!
What up, big dog?
Hey, boner.
Hey there.
Hey, big boner.
That's better. It's more accurate.
Thought you'd like that better.
Thanks. What's going on?
Not much, man. You look good.
Thanks. I miss you.
Yeah, I miss you too. Did you get a little sunshine on the face?
Yeah, I'm a little sweaty at the moment. I just got back from shooting hoops with the boys. That's our new thing every sunny day now as we go fucking dunk some threes and make it rain.
Yeah. Are you more of the layup kind of guy, or do you
threes all day?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you could do both because you have the height.
Yeah, I just don't like jumping.
It's like it's hard. It takes a little more work.
It's bad for the knees.
and the back. My God.
Yeah. That's Brian's game.
Check. Are we recording?
Hey, I really like your long sleeve. It's so sexy. It's got that sick discharge print on it. And it's also got that orange print on it.
Did you see that anti quote?
Yeah.
How much is this t-shirt? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So yeah, it's on our story. It says how much is this t-shirt club? I think. Am I getting it wrong? Is that right?
I don't know. Something like that. Yeah. It's good enough.
But yeah, I'm wearing this. I found it. I found this box on the top shelf and it said Shirt Show merch. I was like, what the fuck? So I open it up. There's one of every size of this. There's the Shirt Show short sleeve. Probably 4 mugs or so. A pin. You know what the pins we got wherever.
Not used to. We still have.
I only have one. I have one.
Yeah.
So we got that. And drum roll.
It's quiet. For the listeners, he's holding a piece of paper. Shirt Show Nah Dude shirts.
Yeah, I mean,
we do. That's what we do, right? We make shirts. So it's only fitting that we make some shirts that have to do with us.
Let's be real. How often do we make shirts for ourselves? Not often enough. That's
right.
For sure.
And we have a box of probably 50 or more. My mom does my digitizing shirts sitting here that we haven't put online yet.
God, are we fucking pathetic or what? It's pitiful. Yeah, honestly. We have a t-shirt company. We both have separate t-shirt companies.
Yeah.
That we do merch programs for people, but somehow we can't do it for ourselves.
It's that mechanic who fucking fixes people's cars all day and then comes home in his jalopy beater and it's fucking broke down on the side of the road.
Well, we need to either get better or just we should contract out all the service.
We should.
Yeah, we should. Okay. So maybe fucking Tony, Tiny Fish, he has fulfillment, doesn't he?
We'll just send it to Jeff at Tiny Fish and he'll just digitally print everything on demand.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Right, other than the fact that we have stock and everything here at my shop ready to ship.
That's too fucking hard, man. It's that means you would have to
that's my motto.
Put it in a bag and ship it and stuff. That's a lot.
Okay.
Look at this. I have some more show and tell. Kyle made some
Garage Dog. Fuck yeah.
And the thing is he gave it to me. This one, check out this cap.
That's awesome. It's baller.
And then he gave it to me and I think he told me the name and then he said, it might have a little drywall dust in there. And so I was like, it should just be called drywall dust. Because that sounds good, right? You would drink that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd like to crack open a cold bottle of
drywall dust.
Yeah. Shotgun it.
Why not?
Want me to do it right now?
Yeah.
It's not cold.
Is he selling that shit or just making it for himself? I mean,
I
there's
don't
probably
know.
a bunch of legal things you got to do if you're going to sell beer,
Right.
or you just give it away to your friends.
Mm-hmm. Hey, are you listening to? I forwarded you the Alamo Draft House podcast.
I saw. I haven't listened to it yet. I actually, not to promote another show, but I was listening to Bruce and Steven's latest episode this morning. So
Why wouldn't you want to promote another show? Yeah, here. So, Steven, Bruce. That wasn't to you. You acted like I was kissing you right there.
Can I get in on it? Can it be a 3-way? A 4-way? Dude, I would totally 4-way with Steven and Bruce.
Somebody that works here came into me and said, Andy, I was on Chat GPT and I entered shirt show or I entered t-shirt podcast and God, did it fuck it up. Like it got it all wrong. It got my part right, which I really like. And it got Bruce's right. But it said that it
said that the host with Natalie something.
Natalie. Yeah, Natalie.
The fuck is this Natalie bitch?
You look kind of like a cute. Honestly, I could see you being. I was
supposed to come out a girl. I was supposed to be a girl.
You of course know this, but we're all girls to start with, right? That's why we have.
Yeah, but the doctor was
nipples.
like, "Hey, I can't even remotely possibly see a penis. This has to be a woman." And then I came out and I had a little doodle bug, and I became Dylan instead of Amy.
Well, you mean Natalie.
Right, Natalie. Sorry.
And it's okay if you're a grower. You're not the other thing. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Yeah, it's respectable.
Gets the job done. It's a little embarrassing, maybe at sometimes.
It's not embarrassing. It's cute.
Yeah, and then it had the Printavo podcast was hosted by like Bruce and Colin, somebody. And then it said the Print Life, like Cam's podcast. I don't think
Ryan and Ross.
Ryan Moore and Ross, yeah. Super accurate.
This is what the internet thinks of all of us.
Yeah, which is confusing because you think that if it's crawling, the internet for information, well, it's clearly out there that you and I host this one and Bruce and Steven host that one. I mean, how did it mess that up? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's wild.
Cheat codes.
It's not perfect yet. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. So I got the privilege to come out and see you last week. And you showed me the wax unit.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And I was I'm here to say that I feel like Andy's right. I'm saying it here publicly.
Sorry. Was that you, or did somebody else say that around here?
Sorry, I have a cold. It must have been something. It's a nice unit. I was honestly, sincerely blown away by some of the detail that you got out of that.
Yeah. So when you first got here, we hugged and kissed and all that kind of stuff. And then I was saying, hey, you want like a quick tour? You haven't seen this place in a while. Took the tour and you're like, man, what a shithole.
Right.
But then there was this like little sparkle of light.
And his name is Kyle.
Yeah. His name is Kyle, who, by the way, he's suffering from insomnia. And we've tried everything, like cutting the caffeine back, which, believe me, that was tough.
Has he tried weed gummies?
I don't know about that, but hold on. I'll get to what I think it might be. Tried, making the room dark at night, like super dark, making it cold, simulating night and coldness and stuff. Don't look at your fucking phone 1 hour before bed. Nothing's working. Nothing was working.
Do you try back rubs?
Was going to like rub, if you rub on Brandon said, if you rub on your nose right here a little bit, you could rub on his nose, like just caress it a little. Tried that. Tried that. Didn't work. But it all comes back to.
It's us. You had him listen to our podcast.
No. That would keep him. That would be worse. He'd
fall asleep instantly.
Depression.
So boring.
So look. I tried to tell you what I think it is.
Magnesium. Yeah, I know. Christina's fucking magic.
It is a magic pill.
You're still taking it daily, right?
Yeah, every once in a while I skip a day.
I ended up downing it to 250.
That's what I'm at, bro.
Yeah.
That's
250
what
bros?
like
I was
think
taking
250
500s and I feel like it was doing some weird shit.
That's a lot.
So
That's a lot. That's a lot. I think that it's recommended. The RDA is like
I'm also
400.
twice your size. So
I wouldn't say that. You mean down there or where?
everywhere.
Oh, that's probably true. All right. So look, benefits of magnesium: promotes healthy blood sugar regulation. It may reduce stress and improve symptoms of anxiety and depression. It helps to maintain healthy bones. It may improve some headaches. It supports healthy blood pressure levels. Listen to this one. It may improve sleep.
You know what? I'll be totally honest. I took like over the past year, I've been taking like little things here and there, tips from friends, like this and this. Christina mentioned magnesium. I started taking magnesium. I can't really tell. Some of that stuff I feel like is placebo, where you take something, you're like, oh, I have more energy and I have this and I have this. But like you really, I don't know, like can't super tell, but I can tell you I for the longest time had headaches like daily, if not every other day. And ever since I've been taking magnesium, I don't think I like barely have had a headache, like if at all.
Yeah, well, that's really fucking great news. I was suffering from eye twitches and I was like, oh, it's the lack of sleep. And then you Google it and it's like you have eye cancer and all these things wouldn't go away, right?
Straight to eye cancer.
Christina says, hey, have you tried magnesium? I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Day 3 on magnesium, gone. 100% better.
Also, Liam, back when we talked to him, was big on doing the liquid IV every day. And I've been doing that too. And that's been awesome. So every day I take one.
Thank you, Liam. Thank you, Christina. Thank you to everyone who recommends and sends us things like for our backs or whatever it is. We really appreciate
and love you all. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Frank.
It all starts with a screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF.
Rank.com.
Or
greatfuckingscreens.com.
Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
If you or your art department could use some love, then you need to go to 1-900-HOTStuff.com and get in touch with Nick or Lucas.
Or Nick or Lucas.
At GraphX Source and let them run your art department so you can focus on running your business.
Yep.
It's really hard to do, run a business.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's why we partner with these amazing people like Frank and Alex and Nick and Lucas and Candy and Kevin and all these people are like just fucking awesome people that want to do the best possible product to make it to where we can make the best possible product. So
choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromoline. Go to chromoline.com to watch Kev's vids or contact him on Instagram at the Emulsion Guru and get the answers you need. Yeah.
The best.
The best. Spent a lot of money at this next sponsor lately, Howard Custom Transfers. If your shop is like ours and you are running more and more DTF and screen print transfers, which by the way, a lot of the money was spent on screen print transfers because we decided that we are not printing any more sweatpants. No more screen 100%. Printing like down the leg or on the hip. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Screen print transfers.
Yep. Same exact thing here.
So look, check out Howard Custom Transfers at howardct.com. And while you're there, order a sample pack.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's no reason not to. Go fucking around.
I can't think of a reason.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about tolls, by the way?
I don't like them, but I do like them more now than I did before.
I don't like them, but you
do you have
like them now?
Well, tolls you used to have to stop.
Oh,
and like pay the toll booth person, or you'd have to have exact change that you'd have to fucking rifle through the center column for and throw them in. The worst though, which happened to me all the fucking time on the way to New Jersey, is the GPS would say keep left, and you would go
Yeah.
around the tolls, and then you'd end up with a $50 fine
Oof.
because you didn't get a ticket at that booth. And then when you got to the other part where you had to give them the ticket and they would tell you what the toll is, you'd be like, I don't have a ticket. And they're like, well, did you go around it? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, here's the $50 fine or whatever. And it's like,
Bastards.
the reason why I say I like it more now is because now it's all automated.
Exactly.
Where you just drive through and they send you a bill in the mail.
Yeah. So that's what has happened. But shout out to Garden State Parkway, because that's, I think you were talking about this a minute ago. I got a bill in the mail from Illinois. Who are these fucking motherfuckers? Some iPass bullshit from when I was in Chicago. And my Waze app says, hey, go this way because it'll save you like an hour. And I did. And time is money. And that, I guess that's true. It's good that I saved this time, but it's a freaking road. Like it's no different than the other road. And like you said, it takes pictures. Like it took a picture of my license plate.
Well, you got to throw mud on your license plate before you go anywhere.
I think that would
Or you
work.
buy those license plate covers where when that light hits it, it like full glares so you can't see the license plate.
I like that. Well, anyway, I owe a whopping $9.80, and I'm not okay with that. I think that that's wrong.
Yeah. We
It's
just
extortion.
we did Atlantic City. We did shop trips there, like 2 or 3 in a row. And I probably had 10 different envelopes on my desk the other day that were all tolls I had to pay.
Yeah. And so I spent a little time and I had to log into the thing and create my fucking password and then do this and then this my account and then go in here and then submit some blood. You know,
Right.
It's just a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah.
Like why did, and not only that, it's just like, it's a road. We already buy gas. Isn't that?
But they maintain the road.
Aren't they supposed to? That's my
And
point.
it's a way for them to make money.
There, I think we're getting closer to it. It's like Monopoly again, all over again.
Yeah. It's like, hey,
Like-
you want to get from A to B? You're gonna fucking pay me like a little bridge troll.
I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Can you do something about that? Like get rid of them for me?
Sure.
I do like the license plate idea.
Yeah, it's illegal, but I mean, you can do it. I saw this. I'm gonna get canceled for this again too, but you can actually buy. I think I saw this where you can buy magnets to like cover a number on your license plate. That like the magnet looks like a leaf, and then you just like throw it over. Like if it's GBP 124, you just cover like one of the letters and numbers with a magnet leaf, and then.
I wonder if they could still get you by running the plate as is, and then it's by the way, it's this kind of car, or this color. Feel like they'll still get you.
I don't know. People make
That's the
these things for a
government.
reason.
Like
I've
That's
definitely
true.
100% like put ice and snow and like mud on my license plate before.
why does that not surprise me? Yeah. Well, what else? How's the shop? What's going on up there?
It's good. Things have been active and busy and well, pretty good. Nothing, no complaints. How about you?
Well, I think I'll elaborate a little better than you just did because that was very disappointing.
I honestly don't have anything. Things have been just like running. Like
Things are like, running and we're just, it's pretty good.
it's
no
starting to pick
complaints.
back up, and
But small talk is bad. Like you need to get better right there. Do a better
Okay.
job.
Let me get into the nitty gritty.
All of a sudden you start crying.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously
Yeah.
though.
How is it here? Well, it is pretty steady. Yeah. So you know how we talk about it coming in waves. Well, it's just pretty steady right now. We'll take it. It's not like overtime or anything, but we have some good orders. I get a notification after work every day. I'm not sure at what time, maybe like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock of our deposit of our who pays in QuickBooks, and stuff. And so yesterday was a really big total. And then you can go in and look at details and see. And it's like, wow, all these orders paid. And that means that we got the orders, which is really, really cool. And so we ordered the shirts today and we'll get them tomorrow. Yeah. Like our list, just to give you an idea. Well, it's not here, but it was.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot on the list for this week still.
Nice.
Yeah. So things are good. We are having like this DTF workflow meeting because I'm trying to get an infographic for the front, like for people who are in sales on the team, that can understand when it should be DTF and when it should screen print. Because last week we had one go to screen printing that should have been DTF and one go to DTF that should have been screen printing, And so it's like, at what color count, quantity, these type of things, should it be one or the other? And so we're just trying to create some simple graphic.
We should bring that topic up with our guest today. I feel like he
Dylan,
has that same dilemma.
I have this hypothetical right here.
Okay,
Right.
good.
Money. Got you.
Okay.
I got you, dog.
Hey, a topic that me and AD were discussing the other day is just like, it's people ask sometimes like, how can we support you? And how can we, whatever, we really like the show. And we get comments all the time of like, we like the show and this happened to me and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's free to just like repost about our show or leave us a review or like our YouTube or, it doesn't cost anything. Like if you're listening to this right now, maybe just like share it on your stories that you're listening to it. Or if you're watching on YouTube, maybe just hit that little button that, takes a fraction of a second that you liked it, just so we know that you're there and that you want us to keep doing this.
Mm.
I mean, if you think we're giant fucking piles of shit, then I guess don't. But if you like us a little bit, maybe let us know.
I check the YouTube comments every like 5 minutes. I'm there. And if you comment, I'm on top of it with a reply.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to ever chat with me, I'm there.
Yeah. Or you can just send us a DM on Instagram and say, I thought Andy's shirt was real hot today and, I had to take a 5-minute break. It's got me going.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that.
I get those already, but I mean, more would be good.
Right.
More is better.
Right.
Right. It's always less is less. More is more.
Fuck less. Less is stupid.
Yeah.
Who do we have on today, bud?
We have today Charlie from Wallflower Merch in sunny Southern Florida. How do you say Southern? Southern?
I say Southern like every fucking other person.
Well, it could be said Southern.
Sure.
Southern Florida, and he has a very, very special machine.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Your
eyes got big.
How did you meet this man?
Oh, I met him at the M&R Accelerate event, which you should have been at.
I know.
And you were very, very missed. They almost
canceled it.
I was there and they're like, we're shutting this shit down. I'm like,
yeah.
Hey, we're all here.
They were going to cover everyone's hotel and flight home because they felt so bad that the entertainment wasn't there.
Yeah. But I did meet him there and he has a pretty cool story and a very special machine.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this. You ready? Oh, I forgot to stretch. I can use it.
I need a chest popper. Oh, you're letting them right in, right when I'm mid stretch, and I'm going to look weird.
It's okay.
What's up, dude? It's a beautiful sunny day here in New York. You're in probably ultra sunnier Florida, right?
That's correct.
You were from up my way-ish, kind of, right?
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Where in New York are you?
Like near Binghamton, Syracuse area.
Okay, yeah, upstate. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, don't miss the winters.
Yeah, I mean it's not for everybody.
No.
I like it though. I don't know, but I'm also a thick guy, and like I look forward to cold.
Do you do like outdoor activities or like?
Yes and no. Me and Andy actually had this discussion the other day where I was like, it's actually kind of refreshing. I mean, you know this, but like, I mean, you hate the cold, I guess, but like when it's really, really cold, like negative temperatures, it's kind of like refreshing to walk outside and like breathe in like crisp, cold air.
Gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
But then you walk in and it's like, you got a fire going and it's like, cozy and warm and like, that's nice.
I'll give you that. So for me, like I think vacationing up there, and it's beautiful. Like when you got snow on the ground and everything, it definitely is pretty, but it's the day to day, just living in it.
Shoveling snow and just like everything's gray and cold and wet and you don't see sun for
like half the year, literally. Like that was one of the things when I first moved down here. I was like after a week, the first thing I noticed, I was like, oh my God. I was like, because we moved down in like January, right? So dead of winter. I look at my hands and I'm like, they're not cracked anymore. I was like, that's sweet.
So
and then
dry.
Like 2 weeks later, I'd had like this like nagging like knot in my neck that like I had for like 6 months, and it's just magically gone. And I finally figured out that literally I was so cold all the time that I just walked around like this. Like I finally relaxed when I got here. So I was like, yeah,
Charlie, the real reason Dylan likes it up there is because in the winter anyway, is because he likes to plow and he likes to blow. I mean, those are the
hell
two.
Yeah. Hey, yo. Who doesn't?
Fair enough.
So not to super get right into it, I guess, but like, why did you move to Florida? Like, what happened? Dive into your story a little bit.
Yeah, no. So job offer. I ran a place in the Northeast for a fair amount of time. It was still pretty close with those guys. It was combination, professional and personal. My wife is she's from Colombia. Her family still lives down there, so it was a big ordeal, for us to go from New Hampshire to Colombia to see her family. Right.
Right.
We go twice a year. The personal side of it was, it made her family more accessible. Obviously, climate was a plus as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
She actually does miss winter. She says she doesn't miss the cold, misses the snow. But yeah, so on the personal front, it kind of put us, right smack dab in the middle of both our families. So it was kind of fair from that perspective.
Yeah.
Professionally, it was, I run that place, New Hampshire for a better part of a decade, and it was all B2B. It was a big shop, 65,000 square feet, 8 autos. We did embroidery, transfers, DTG, everything, soup to nuts, if you will. One thing we didn't really do was B2C, e-commerce. And where I am now, Wallflower, that's their bread and butter. So it was kind of, they were growing. They needed someone who understood, operations and more of the technical side of things, someone that could implement systems. And they really needed to make that move in order to, sustain the growth that they were going through. So an offer was made, and that's where I landed.
So the place that you worked at before, how did that operation work? Did you start at the bottom and work your way up? And what did they do? And what did you get good at, I guess?
Yeah, so literally, I'll try to keep the beginning of the story short, but I played soccer in high school. Like, I got my dream high school job. Like, I worked at the soccer specialty store, so I'd get my discount on my cleats and stuff like that. I wasn't really sure, when I finished high school, what I wanted to do. So I was going to take a year or whatever, just work full time. I'd gotten a promotion. Part of the specialty store atmosphere was we would have a lot of small soccer clubs, which are obviously now I guess more popular with sports in the Northeast. Being indoor. We used to do indoor soccer. There's now indoor lacrosse. Like so.
I did indoor lacrosse.
Yeah. So basically, it was like you'd have this network of team sales that you would need to address. So uniforms, and with that came, Adidas and Nike reps would frequently come in and show us the new kits for the next season and whatnot. We'd work directly with them to get, orders placed. And so I kind of was like, I think I want to be a rep for like an Adidas or Nike or something. That was kind of my goal. Like I was good with people. I like to, be in sales, and, it would be kind of a good gig. So, stayed at the soccer store, for several years, and found an opening, for a territory manager, at the place I previously worked at. At that time, they were, essentially two sister companies. There was a sales marketing side, which was the side that I applied to, and then the production side. I interviewed, I got the position for territory manager. So entry-level sales, I oversaw, individual, independent reps as well as rep groups, within certain states. And we sold our catalog of t-shirt lines, into various brick and mortar mom and pop. We had a warehouse stock full of all these printed designs. So our catch was, 24-hour shipping, no minimums. And, I started there, it was 2006. January of 06. So first couple of years there were going great. And then 2008 came, and,
right.
Yeah, it was ugly. I mean, they've been in business since like 1990. So they were well established, but, it was pretty unbelievable to see how quickly so many brick and mortar mom and pop shops went under. I mean, like my account base, was cut in half in a matter of months. And so from there, it was that organization needed to restructure to survive. Right. So, they made a lot of cuts. I was pretty much sitting there every day being like, I'm one of the newer people. Like, clearly I'm not gonna make the cut. I guess to my benefit, I was probably one of the lowest paid at that time, because I was, in an entry level position. And so they kept me on. So I made it through. And that's when we started to rebuild. So we went from that inventory based model servicing, mom and pop shops to, becoming more production oriented. So the two sides merged officially. And we started basically pitching a lot of the brands located in the Northeast, this kind of just in time model, right? Lower minimums, not sourcing, not having to go to China for a minimum of 5,000 units and wait 6 months. It's like, we've got this large facility that's within, a lot of these brands are located in, Boston, right? They're able to come up here, be more hands-on. And at that same time, it was right when like the next level apparels and Bella Cams started actually, coming out with some things domestically that, were athletic, fit, fashion forward, it made sense. So we were able to kind of pair that whole package. So my role then shifted into less sales oriented, more. It really started with QC, like where I had a retail background. I was familiar with what was in retail. One of the owners essentially was like, I want you to oversee the first round of stuff coming off press. And then I kind of took it upon myself to I was curious. It was my first time really around production, and I found it interesting. So I kind of took the bull by the horns, if you will. And, I learned a lot from every aspect of it, from the screen room, to press, to reclaim, to all the things we would do in finishing, and naturally just kind of.
Was there any takeaways at that point between being the sales guy to like actually being involved with production? Like, was there stuff that you were like, oh, I didn't realize it was this involved, or this?
I always maintain
more respect for the printers, I guess.
Well, for sure. No. And that's one thing that I will always preach going forward. I always maintained a sales and operations, kind of hybrid role. My account base, was smaller, and it obviously wasn't my main driving cause, but I always continued to sell. And I always told everybody I became a much better salesperson once I actually understood production. So any new hires we would bring in, that was something I would preach to them, like, go get at the end of a dryer, go understand why we do things this way. That way one, you can sell, to fit our mold, but two, actually be able to confidently explain, why we can and can't do something.
Yeah. We've talked about this a couple times. Is that something that you guys try to do at Wallflower, is to kind of cross train people from sales to production, or?
So we're a little unique here in the sense of we don't really have like a sales team per se. We've got a few people that are well connected, and really the majority of our business has come from word of mouth, just in these pockets. A lot of people know a lot of people.
Yeah, but I mean, even inbound people, not necessarily a salesman, but somebody that's just taking inbound. Say you have a brand that wants to work with you, and a lot of these brands or influencers or whatever just see shit they see on the internet where they're like, oh, it's an all over print and it's this and cut and sew. They don't know the difference. They think it's just screen printing.
Yes.
Having someone in inbound that just knows that's printable, that's not printable, that's, these are the parameters we can work within.
So again, completely different dynamic to where I came from. The way we're structured here is there's a small select group that I am included on, along with maybe three or four other key players here, and we are involved from start to finish on essentially everything. And we have good clients. Our clients are willing to. They understand that they want to set us up for success, because obviously that leads to to them being successful. So we do have a pretty good system in place where, I'm usually the one that will determine, what the means of decoration is. Is it doable? It's very rare that we get, a client that just kind of blindly tosses something up without, actually running it by us. So we're fortunate in that perspective.
Yeah. Andy, do you guys do that there? Like, I know we kind of talked before about front desk, making sure they know what they're selling. Like, is that something that you kind of make them go out and be part of the team?
Yes, we could definitely do it better, but there's like a screen printing 101, when you start here, and that's just one day though, as far
Right.
as like somebody at the front. And so they'll spend time on press and at the dryer. And so that certainly helps. There's also one person here that transitioned over to sales that came from being a press assistant. So that's, which is great because he's right there and he can talk to them. If they have any questions, they sort of ask him because he knows a lot of those. He has a lot of the answers. But also Kyle, he's, all over this place. He gets 20,000 steps a day, and he's everywhere around here. And so they can grab him, and he can also give some insight on like if it's going to work or not, because we get that kind of stuff all the time. And then also our like we were saying earlier, I was telling you that we're trying to create this infographic for something new, so we're offering DTF now. And when do we, move it over to DTF, and when do we keep it on the press? And so it's, we thought we sort of knew and we were winging it, and we kind of just started doing it without really having any firm rules. And I guess that's one way to do it, isn't it? You can just start doing it and then figure out what's working and what's not. And so I think that's where we're at right now, is that we know some stuff isn't working and it should be done a little differently. And so we are going to have this meeting and, and try and get this sort of like if it's this, then that, sort of thing, so that the three people at the front can handle all it easier.
Do you have any of that ironed out yet? Because for us, it's just been kind of like we see a job and we're like, I don't really want to print that, or it's too many colors, or it's a lower quantity, or it's a weird specialty. Like, I don't have something like what you're talking about where it's like, if it's this, it's this. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have cut and dry rules of, we did the math, and anything that's a 8 color under this many shirts is automatically a transfer. Anything that's this is this. Like, do you have any of those rules?
Are you asking me or Charlie?
You. Charlie too, but like you.
I'll go in that we don't have anything firm. We sort of had something rough, and what's surprising is how fast you actually can DTF. We have 3 machines.
Yeah.
And and so I think what we need to do, and I know this is like some R&D stuff, which we hardly ever have time for, But like, wouldn't it be cool to have a job? Because this is one of the things that happened is that we had a job for 247 pieces. It started off at, I think, 200 and it grew to 247. And it was a 7-color back, 1-color front. So we were going to screen print the front. It was easy. And do this DTF on the back. Well, at 247 or whatever, you're like, wait a second, could we have just screen printed that faster? You know, you're over here one at a time, basically, even though there's 3 machines. So couldn't you do that faster? And the answer is, surprisingly, I don't think so. And also when you're talking about faster, you have to also have to figure in profit. And so like, if you're on press, you have to make, you know, that many screens and you have to set it all up and you have to print it. And there's 3 people on a team and then you have to tear it down and then you have to clean the screens. You're spending money in emulsion and wax and all this stuff. Or you just get some transfers in.
That was the discussion.
And don't do any of that.
Day. Right. That was the discussion me and you had the other day, was just kind of like, you could, when you say it out loud, you automatically think, yeah, if I'm set up on press and I'm running it, I could print it faster than if I'm doing DTF. But DTF, you order it pre-cut, done. You open the fucking bag and you have the shirts next to you. All you're doing is pressing and post pressing.
Yeah. I know Charlie's
making
Charlie. He's itching to answer this. He goes, just get a pull press.
No, I mean, it's so, I mean, obviously I know, Andy, we talked briefly about like my stance. I mean, you know, I'm kind of going all in on the digital world. I mean, like even as far back as 2020, like, you know, when Brother and Epson came out with their bulk ink systems, like that was a game changer just for then. That's obviously DTG, not DTF, but, you know, it took you like, I mean, just to backtrack, the first DTG machines I was ever around was in 2008. We had a Brother GT 782 and a 381. You know, 782 was like 75 grand. The 381 was like 35,000. You know, and I mean, you could get, I don't know, 12 shirts an hour at best. And I mean, they were terrible. You know, felt like plastic. You had banding, and the biggest kicker was, you know, it was. The ink cost alone, not labor, just ink, was $1 a cc, is what Brother would call them, or milliliter. Perhaps. Yeah. So, I mean, average shirt, you know, full front was 5 cc's. You're in it for $5, you know, just an ink. And it, at that time, it did serve its purpose. You know, it allowed us to do, you know, 8, 9, 10 color designs for 12 units. And, you know, you just have to charge accordingly. But when they came out with those bulk ink systems and your price per milliliter or cc went down to, you know, 15 cents. I mean, I did some, you know, analysis on, you know, even jobs that were 288s and up, you know, 6, 7 colors. If it was on cotton, it was more cost effective to run on the Brothers. And then, you know, scale to something like the Polaris, where your price, you know, there's a lot less labor involved. Obviously, one operator, and again, even your ink prices are even sharper. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, when you actually capture your entire cost for a screen printed job, and that's the important thing. Is you gotta capture your labor. You know, from the mixing of inks. You know, from obviously, you know, coating your screens, burning your screens, washing them out, blocking, taping, setup, you know,
there's so much involved.
Between. It's like, it really, like, and it's hard to do it because obviously, so, I mean, I would just take like, you know, I would take one press, you know, and just get an analysis for like the day. Cause you really you have to isolate it to be able to really break it down, especially when you've got multiple things going on. So it was like, you take that day's jobs and you say, give me your time study, you know, in the screen room from start to finish just for this press today. Right. And then, you know, you really can get your all on cost. And it is amazing how much more cost effective, you know, the digital world is becoming. And then, you know, obviously I'm certainly in the know on the DTF side. I know it's even, I guess it's substantially less, you know, expensive than even a direct to garment print. Still trying to, I don't feel like it's 100% there. And I guess my biggest problem with it is the added touch point, right? Like one of my, and I'm sure you guys experience the same thing, you know, labor's an ongoing issue, you know, and it's, it's tough to find good help in manufacturing, domestically. And that's something that, even pre-pandemic, I would say existed. It obviously got harder after, but that's where I still not, until I see like a robot placing the transfer for me, like, right on the shirt, like, now we're talking.
It literally takes it out of the mail, opens the mailer, pulls the transfers out.
I mean, that would be, that's what I'm talking about. I like that.
Well, additionally, DTG is a better hand. Like, it feels way closer to a screen print than DTF.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the finished product is, I think, better. I mean, DTF is really good. It's come a long way, and we have people that request it. Like, that's what they want. They don't want a screen print.
Yep.
We do,
which is funny. And like I said, we all get in our own way. Like, all the time, the discussion with other printers is the feel, the hand, the this, the that, and everything. And it's like, the fucking customer just wants the design they want on a shirt, and they want it to not fall off. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Most of the time, yes.
Right. And Bill here went on vacation last week, and he went to Disney, and he was sending us pictures left and right. He's like, that's transfer, that's transfer, that's transfer, that's transfer. It's like, they don't fucking care. They just want a shirt with all the Disney princesses on it, and it looks good, and it's not gonna fall off after the first wash.
That's what's messed up. Is it's the end consumer could care less. It's the in between. It's the brand or the company that you are producing for that is ultimately selling it to the consumer. They're the ones that can't get out of their minds, like, this is a transfer. It's like, but you're 100% right. End consumer doesn't know the difference. It's like, if I go shopping with someone, not that I go shopping very often, but if I do with someone that is, not privy to our industry, I mean, it's annoying because I stop and I touch everything, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's this, that's that, right? And it's like, they don't have a clue. They don't want to have a clue. And if they like what it looks like, then they're going to get it.
Right. And the thing is, the truth of it is there's certain things. The reason why someone buys a shirt is because it hits a personal chord with them. You know what I mean? Like, they're in a store, they see something on the shirt, 9.9% or 9.9 out of 10, they're buying that shirt because it's got something that tickles their fancy on it. You know what I mean? Like me, I bought stuff at a store where, and it's hard for me to buy a fucking graphic t-shirt to begin with, because it's like, I'm spending money on this and I know what it costs. But like, I'll buy something here and there where it's like, I really like the artist who made it. You know what I mean? Like, there was one, I really don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but there was one a little while ago that I got that had, a shark on it, and it had a guy coming out of the mouth or whatever. And it was like, have a good day or whatever. And I just liked the artist who made it. Like, I knew the guy, and I bought the shirt, and I was like, I like this shirt. Like, I like the graphic. I like everything about it. I washed it once, and half the print fell off. Like, literally, I could grab it like it was fucking like a sunburn and peel the skin off. Like, it was.
Was it a transfer?
I don't know exactly what it was. It felt like it was like a DTF, or not a DTF, like a DTG print or something, but had to have been some kind of transfer if I was peeling it off. But it just wasn't done well. And that's where I get iffy on the whole transfer world or digital print world. Is I don't want to, like, I don't care what it is. Like, obviously I like screen printing, but I don't care what process it is that makes the design. I just want to make sure that it's quality enough. Like, hand to me isn't as important as, is it going to wash off or peel off?
Yeah. Yeah. And that all comes back to people doing their due diligence. I mean, I can tell you with confidence, like, our digital prints will last just as long as our screen prints. I have a pretty extensive background in transfers from, where I was in the Northeast. We worked with a ton of technical fabrics, and it's the same deal there. It's just, you got to do it right. You can't cut corners. And I think it lends itself, where it is a little easier. It's harder to have the controls in place, I think. Whereas like screen printing, like, it's very obvious if something's wrong. I mean, you can obviously over or under cure, like in the dryer, but with a transfer, like, you can get something to stick to a shirt and be like, oh yeah, that's good. And you don't actually like test it or follow, the proper application. It's like, someone's going to bring it home, wash it once, and it's toast.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say, are you ready to fight?
Let's
Because,
do it.
okay, here we go. Is screen printing going to go away?
I think I'm going to put 8 to 10 years. I think the vast majority. I think it's following the same process that happened with graphics, right? It's a skilled trade, and going back to labor, it's a skilled trade in a, you can keep it as clean as you want, but you're still dealing with inks and chemicals and things that aren't at the top of people's lists that they want to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. It's labor intensive. It requires a lot of steps, and so I think it's inevitable. The advancement of technology will get to a point where we'll be doing specialty effects. We'll be doing anything and everything you can do on a press, and you're going to be able to get that price per print down, to what it's currently costing you per screen. And at that point, like, why wouldn't you?
Okay, so then I have to give you a scenario. So let's just say you have a one color print. It's 15 inches tall, 14 wide, white ink. Do you run, and let's say the quantity is 5,000. Do you run that on a automatic press, or do you run that on a Polaris, or do you run or a pod of DTG machines? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, now 100%. Yeah. I would go to screen with that. But I guess, like, again, when I take, 2008 was my intro to DTG, getting 12 shirts an hour at $5 a print.
The big difference between 2008 and now with digital is a huge leap.
It's huge, but I've been a part of it in its whole evolution, right? And so what I'm saying is, what we're seeing now with a Polaris, like, that's just the start of this new technology. And so you're only going to see better, quicker speeds, better prints, more options. I mean, one of my big gripes is, like, it's extremely inefficient to, in fact, I don't even know if Polaris has pallet sleeves, pallets for sleeves yet. But like on like an Epson or a Brother, like, it sucks to do sleeve prints, pain in the butt. So it's like, that's still not there. So, I mean, there's plenty of components that, the digital world doesn't possess, that it needs to, in order for it to take over screen. But I just think the writing's on the wall. I mean, even with the whole DTF, movement, which I feel like that's really taken off in the past year. It's like, people are realizing, like, screen printing, although it sounds like it's a cheap process, and yes, the 5,000 piece one color, scenario all day, I mean, makes a ton of sense. But all you're talking about to achieve that is, can M&R reduce, our ink and pre-treat costs, not by a lot. And then, just increase the speed of the print carriages. Mm-hmm. And once they do that, and you're running 500-600 an hour, and you have no prep, no reclaim,
I think that's where the argument is, though, in most of the talks that we've had is DTF, or is digital going to take over screen print, and is screen print going to go away, is more with the, I guess, the labor intensive part of it, where, like, you're like, okay, you're loading a Maverick, or you're loading an Epson, or you're doing this. Like, the argument is always, screen printing for sure, because it's going to be faster because you're loading an automatic press. You're talking more the difference between running a job on a G4 or running a job on a Polaris. Like, if the Polaris, I can roll over a set of shirts and just be like, okay, I'm loading, and I tell a computer to do all my pre-press, versus a Gauntlet where you're like, well, okay, I got to go make the screens, I got to mix the inks, I got to put it in, I got to register it, and then I got to hope that the inks I mixed are right and all this other stuff. And then you have multiple operator kind of thing. Like, that's where I am getting your argument, is like, if they can make things faster and cheaper and more efficient for a Polaris, it seems like it would be, this is going to take over this at some point, because there's too much labor intensive process on this side.
And it's multiple departments too, right? It's like, my dream is to run as lean as possible. And, again, given our book of business, digital and it makes the utmost of sense, right? Because I mean, we really are very heavy in the e-commerce world. When I say that we can run the players at 200 an hour, we literally are running 200 unique prints an hour. We have thousands and thousands of SKUs, and there's no.
And that's the thing though, is unique prints, not 200 of the same print.
Yeah, and so that's where again I'll be the first to say if someone comes here and says, "Hey, I got this this black shirt, I want white ink, single side, 5,000 units," I'm gonna push that screen. But the point is, like, there's only a couple of things that need to be addressed for the players to be there. Because it's using a Striker chassis. It can index at that speed. It's the the add-ons, the pre-treat, as well as the digital squeegees, need to be able to keep up with a faster pace. But yeah, I just think it's becoming harder and harder to staff. As I've said, it's just not a desirable career path for a lot. I mean, believe me, I have a lot of respect for printers. Like, to me, and I know several that view it as an art, and I have a ton of respect for them, and I appreciate it. And I'm not a great printer myself. I understand how to. I can. Am I one of those artists? No. And I think that will always exist, right? I mean, the people that are really, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm sure you both know a few that are, just above and beyond anyone else that screams, right? It's like that'll never die, and I never would want that to die. But when we're talking about an actual company, and its process and your cost and overhead, it's like I want as little variables as possible. So if I can, have as much automation, in equipment, and have as few operators, and really dumb the process down, if you will, like everything we have is embedded in a barcode. It's like loader just loads and scans and done,
Yeah. Now, when you went from the other company with a lot of like screen experience and running things and whatever, what was the pull to the new place? Because it seems like it's a different world.
Yeah, totally is. So we were, like I said, like 100% B2B up there, and we had a nicely organized, flowing shop, and I feel like it was kind of like reaching like, where do I go from here? Like there was going to be, I'm sure some more technologies in automating some of the processes, like up there, a lot of stuff going to like retail and distribution centers. We had folders, baggers, automated ticketing machines, pad printers, all this stuff. So, I'm sure all of those things will advance, as well. And so there would have been some of that. But in general, like, it was kind of like I did my part, like the systems are in place. This is how it's flowing. And I was okay with that. But it excited me to see the growth that was happening down here, and to see that it was something that I had been like researching on, but hadn't had a need to actually figure out and put systems in place and execute. Right. So it was kind of like a new challenge. That was like part two of, I guess professionally, that was my reason for wanting to come down here, was like, and I see it as the future. It's going through the pandemic and, having all that branded business that was, centralized around, retail events. It was like everything went away in 2020. And I mean, obviously, we were a well-established company. We were never at risk of going out of business, but it was like an eye opener. Like, and then to see like a company like Wallflower that was doing all B2C, and to see them, they made the Inc. 5000, list that year, of one of the fastest growing private companies in the US. It was like, to do that during, unprecedented times, I thought was fascinating. And then also, new technologies and obviously a lot of the manufacturers in our industry see it as well. I mean, I think that's why you have the M&Rs and Rocks and Corneats, really pushing the envelope, with, giving us the ability to to do print on demand, so yeah, it was just kind of my calling. It was like, I'm either going to stay put where I am, and retire here, or I'm at that age where this is probably the last shift I want to make, and
Right. Creative push.
yeah. Right.
What did you bring to them? Like, what were they looking for with you? Was it just like, hey, we need somebody to manage this, or we need someone with ideas?
It was pretty much everything. I mean, again, to their credit, they were successful with 2 small Diamondbacks, no digital, just 2 small Diamondbacks, and a network, that consisted of my the old company I worked at. We did a lot of their higher color, more complex jobs, or any of their digital things, but they literally just had a Google Doc and they just figured out. They had a really good core group of people that didn't necessarily, none of them had a background in this industry. Everyone just kind of learned on the fly, and they all just worked really hard together. And so
was their thing more just sales and doing like online stores and fulfillment and stuff? Was that kind of their thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, started with music artists. That really was the first taste, and it would be from developing and managing their online store, to dabbling in the tour side, which now that I've been here, I mean, the first thing was when I got here, I was like, you guys got to have a print on demand system. I was like, you cannot be doing small runs and holding inventory for things you don't know if it's going to sell. It's just too many SKUs, and so that was step one. So I started with a couple Epson F3070s. Got an automation software implemented. An inventory management system. We added for the artists that we do still hold stock for.
And how did that go? Like, I'm interested in that, because I feel like a lot of people are curious on that jump. You know what I mean? I feel like some people are like, oh, do I do on demand, or do I print some bulk stuff? Like, I guess there's benefits to both, but I feel like if the on demand quality and speed is there, then that's kind of the way to go. Like, how do you feel about the whole thing?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, inventory. I mean, especially, we rent our warehouse space, right? So it's like every square foot, that you're holding product, you're literally paying that every month, right? So not only is it that, but it's also the cost of, whatever you put in to produce that stuff, unless you have a client that's willing to purchase inventory up front, which, there are scenarios where that does make sense, and we do still do that, but we don't carry the paper anymore. Before, it was, in order to service some of this business, it was, you had to take some risk and, and carry the paper and produce in bulk and, see what happens. But yeah, I mean, it's putting a print on demand, system together. It was definitely, it was cool. It was cool. Like, I mean, it was stuff, there isn't any really software related things that, require mapping and figuring out recipes and rip environments. And, like, there's a lot of different variables that, were kind of new for me that was fun to do that they wouldn't necessarily have with screen printing. And really, like, the automation software, it kind of marries it all together. So it's like, it has to be done right, and otherwise you're going to fail. So it's like, it's, I don't know, it was definitely kind of an exciting thing. And then when you actually see it all working, it's like, you just see this, like, this thing, cycling, and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
We're like the kids, of America. We are going to embrace this digital technology stuff. Because it is coming. I agree with you. I don't know if it'll fully be digital, and then screen printing is completely gone because of certain scenarios. I don't know if it'll ever totally get there. But I have 2 questions. One, why, when you're making your decision to embrace digital, why do you choose the Polaris and not go with like a bank of brothers, let's say? A pod of brothers? You could buy 10 brothers or more, compared to a Polaris. What was it about the Polaris? And did you do any sort of testing before you went all in with that?
Yeah. So I had always been a big supporter of pods, redundancy, right? One printer goes down, 3 printers go down, it's like you're still going to have something going. So my initial thought and the way I started here was with a small pot of Epsons, right? That's what I was going to build out. Obviously it requires you to staff a person to pre-treat, another to heat press, and then obviously, depending on what machines you're using, X amount of operators per printer, right? So I was definitely of that school of thought. Kind of 2 things happened. One, our rate of growth last year, it was literally right around this time, was unmanageable. We were literally, we had our 2 Epsons. We were getting like 400 or 500 unique prints a day. And we're getting maybe 200, 250 orders a day. And we were like styling, we were keeping all our orders under 48 hours. We were loving life. And then boom, May hit. And we went from 200 to 250 orders a day to 1,000 plus. And it was we were taking 3-4 weeks to ship. It got bad. So it was I need a solution now. I need it quick. And, I was given a green light to look into every option. So, the challenge with the pod system, in my opinion, is, again, the labor, the added touch points. It's definitely, again, more labor intensive. You're staffing multiple people, to run variety stations, and then it becomes footprint. So the Polaris is huge, right? But for me to set up multiple pods that needed to be in climate controlled areas, we're in South Florida, they definitely have to be. I was talking about having to add dryers. I was talking about having to knock out walls, build out bigger rooms, and really some of the cost that was going to be associated with that was pretty significant. And then even worse was timing. At that time, I couldn't get a dryer from anybody. There weren't any used ones. I mean, it was, I can't remember, but I want to say it was 12 months.
A year. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
A year, basically.
Yeah. So it was right at that time. And it was shit, what do I do? So, I started exploring. I went to OvalJet. I looked at the Cornette, Atlas Max, and then, the Polaris. And, after I did, I definitely crunched numbers, and it does make sense. Just from the staffing perspective, I mean, sure, you need more people to feed it, because it's, I guess you would need the same number of people to feed, 5 Epson pods or whatever. But it really was having that single operator, everything running through that system. I mean, it made sense. And then it's one machine that is taking up a good portion of one of our warehouses, but it's square footage to output, was also better than the pods. Yeah.
How are you feeling about it now that you have it? I know the idea of it initially is oh my God, I can do this. But now that you have it, how are you feeling about its output? And, it's an expensive piece of machinery. So, and
Dylan said, one of his things is you have to learn to not only operate it, but what happens if something goes wrong? You have to learn the machine. There's a learning curve in there. Like you were talking about with the iMage, you don't know how to fix it, or you didn't. And all of a sudden you have these essentially two digital squeegees and this pre-treat machine, all the stuff that you have to know, hey, if this is happening, how do I fix that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you have to learn that too.
Well, and that's one thing actually I applaud M&R for. I think some people would maybe not agree with me, but with Epson and Brother, they're very reluctant to have you dive into the machine. Like Epson, it's forbidden. We're not allowed to touch anything.
Don't touch it unless you pay for a tech to come out.
Literally. And so we do. We pay an annual service contract or whatever. And, they typically can get someone out here within, we've got one of their techs lives right in Miami. So if he's not traveling, he's usually here the next day. But I've definitely had a couple occasions where he's, been somewhere else and, it takes 48, 72 hours. And it's and you're just dead in the water, literally dead. With the Polaris, I mean, they certainly encourage you to learn, learn about it and, troubleshoot yourself. And I mean, like, it was, to be honest, it was more simple than I expected in a lot of respects. I mean, there's obviously in any form of automation, right? Everything affects the next thing. So it's like, there's definitely, I'd say that's probably the biggest learning curve. Like everything else was just like smaller format DTG on steroids, like it was all pretty similar in its functionality. It was more learning, okay, this is happening at this station, so let's backtrack, where did it go wrong? And once you kind of get a feel for that, we've been pretty fortunate. I mean, I tracked we got up and running, like mid-October is when we finally had everything all mapped last year. And I think, I tracked our output, from basically then through the end of the year, through our holiday push. And we only had 3 days of significant downtime. And they were things that, we hadn't, seen before. And a lot of it was having to do with either a sub-tank issue or a filter. We've since had the same things occur and, have been able to recognize the problem and fix it ourselves instead of being down for 4 to 6 hours, 15 to 30 minutes. So, knock on wood. I mean, obviously we haven't experienced everything yet, but.
So how do you feel that's helped with the company growth? Because you guys said you went from having 200 orders to 1,000 orders. Is this something that brought you back to being normal business hours? You're getting shit done. You guys are great. You don't need another one immediately. Yeah,
well, we certainly think, and actually, this is one other thing I will say that is nice about like the player system. Like it's once you have it figured out, it's pretty easy to scale, right? Because it's just an identical system. So we definitely are in the school of thought of wanting to get a second one at some point. We're playing around with a few scenarios. It definitely, like the first 3 months of this year was overkill capacity. Our business has been up. We were up from that 200 250, like we were 350 orders a day for the first few months of the year. Then kind of climbed up to 500, and we're back to getting closer to that 1,000 mark. So I mean, yes, the entire first part of the year, I mean, it's a very light lift to run 1,000 prints off that thing. No one's working overtime. No one's stressed. It's pretty easy.
Technical stuff aside, can you walk me through the process of how production works for that scale of on demand? Like, are you warehousing blanks, pulling from there? Are you ordering specific things, and like, does that get pulled, put on a cart with a barcode, come through the machine? How does the whole flow go from someone ordering to it being printed, packed, and shipped?
So we try to keep it as cookie cutter as we can. Obviously as we grow, I know we'll be forced to have more variables at play, but right now, yes, we house, primarily cotton rich, garments, t-shirts, crew necks, hoodies. Probably have about, I don't know, maybe 20, maybe not 20, maybe 15 different t-shirt colors, 5, 6 different crew neck colors, and probably 3 or 4 hoodie colors. So we keep, a fair amount of inventory in.
So when your band or brand or whatever comes to you, you say, we can put a design on these options.
If you want to do print on demand.
Yeah.
So yeah, we offer both sides. We still have our screen printing, a lot of the artist stuff, they will want, the higher end, heavier blanks or custom made stuff that we'll source out of LA. So for those, it's, we'll do a kind of a time drop, get a read on sales, and the sale, produce in bulk and fulfill. But yeah, if someone comes to us and they say, hey, we want to throw up, a bunch of designs, we'll go back to them and say, here are your options, your garment options, your print placement options. If you want to fit in our print on demand mold. And so, so basically it all starts with, orders coming in, they get tagged into our automation system, and from there they're sorted, and given to pullers. They, pick the garments, slap the barcode on, and then off to the players through the dryer, and then and then scan to ship, at the end. So it's a pretty simple process.
Okay. But everything flows from the machine to packing and shipping pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean, the way so we kind of spread out into 3 different units in one little plaza here. So we have like pretty much our print on demand unit, which has our Epsons, the Polaris, a dryer, and then the POD shipping place. So it's blanks are all staged, on one side. That's where all the picking occurs. The Polaris is like in the middle. The Epsons are towards the back. We have a setup where like our dryer infeed goes through the wall. So the Epsons can produce simultaneously with the Polaris. Everything comes down off that dryer, and then you have a shipping area is towards the back where pickup is. So flows pretty nicely.
Nice. Andy, you said you had a couple hypotheticals, or do you have a question?
I do, yeah, and I also have a question. So do you see yourself, if you scale larger, adding another Polaris or adding some Mavericks? Like, what's your next piece of equipment?
So I am very close to finalizing the addition of 2 Mavericks. We would have gone Polaris, but I literally don't have the power. This was something I had to learn the hard way when I first moved to Florida. It is not easy to add electrical service. It is a process. It's expensive and it takes a lot of time. So I think end goal is, I'm going to start the process of, requesting, another 400 or 600 amp service. But we currently, the Polaris does require a lot of juice. That's for sure. So I'm tapped in all of our units. I wouldn't be able to throw it in. So I started looking at the Mavericks, and we have a few new clients that that we're starting to work with that are going to be more women's oriented. So like crop tops and probably more hoodies, like more fleece, which don't particularly lend themselves to the Polaris. And the thought is the Maverick being two platins, pretty easy to change out, to adjust for whether it's women's, youth, hoodies, and still get a pretty decent output. So we're exploring adding those 2 units and a dryer in our new warehouse space.
So the Mavericks don't pre-treat, right? So they are, but I guess they do flash, and they do. I think they do 2 at a time, so 2 garments at a time. Separate designs or the same? Separate,
and you're able to. One of the big bonuses, like when we were running our Epsons full time, it's you have someone pre-treating full time, and then literally you're staffing someone just to be at the end of the dryer all day to heat press, to mat everything down, to recart, to then go print. The Maverick does have built-in heat presses on either side, so that does save a body right there, which was not quite all in line, but at least that's one.
It's what you can do with what you have right now.
Yeah, and I mean it's even so, like that is one thing with the oval. And I know M&R says the to change out pallets, it's not too overwhelming. I want to say that they say it takes about like 15 minutes, which, okay, but that's 15 minutes to change, then 15 minutes to change back. So that's a half hour, and that is when you're doing POD, it's like, then you really got to restructure your workflow, right? I'm going to have to isolate all my smaller garments, to this, change over. So, I don't love that about it. And that's where I think having some other machines that are easier and more adaptable, will benefit us.
I think it'll be sort of like our embroidery department. We have single heads and then we have multi heads, and I think that's maybe similar in that, because you don't want to tie up a multi head machine when you have just maybe one garment that's a hoodie or a crop, like you said, or a toddler or whatever it is. You can just change out that pallet easy, and the Polaris keeps going. So I mean, I like the idea of having a couple of smaller ones, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it'll work. And I mean, they have a decent output, it's like 75 to 100 an hour. And, we'll see if one operator can actually run 2. My gut tells me I'll probably put 2 people in there, but yeah, if we end up just being able to run with one operator, then that's a win too. So,
Are you finding that you don't need as skilled of labor to run these machines?
so the Polaris, I actually poached from our screen printing department. I took our lead press operator. I originally was going to take our Epson operator, thinking it's digital, right? And then as soon as I saw it in action, I'm like, yeah, this is a screen printer's machine. Like, you got to be able to thread and load,
Right.
at 200 an hour, which it's funny because I watch him sometimes. You can tell he's like bored waiting for, it to index every 8-10 seconds. He's used to going every 3 or whatever, but yeah, so I took him, with the Polaris, like you want someone that is at least attentive. You can have someone on the side to help, troubleshoot, but like if you're just not paying attention, on your phone, like you could do some damage. So yeah, you want someone that's
Well, that's the thing though. I mean, to a degree, you want someone who's skilled enough because you're putting them on a machine that costs.
Yeah.
You don't want to just be like, hey, here's a bottom of the barrel employee. Like,
Yeah, but you have to have that one skilled person, but then also you're skipping over all of the others. Like you're skipping over somebody who can code a screen or somebody who can image or expose or develop or register. I mean, you're skipping all of that stuff and just going straight to this one person that's skilled, So I think
that's where I feel like you can repurpose, some of those skilled people. It's like I've always had a really experienced, former press operator run screen room, right? Like you want someone that knows what they're doing, they've seen it, and it's like that person, in my opinion, doesn't become obsolete. They can still serve their purpose, right? But on the smaller machines, like certainly, like the Epsons are very easy to run.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of built-in safety measures that you're not. Someone can't really mess the machine up. They'd have to try. The Maverick's going to be probably more in line with that. We'll be a little more forgiving.
Well, I have a hypothetical, and it goes along with this. We've probably already touched on a little bit, and I might know your answer, but I'm interested in your answer anyway, and also Dylan's. So you receive an order for 500 8-color shirts. Do you screen print it, DTG it, or DTF it?
Today, not in 10 years.
Today, right now. Yeah, today.
Right.
Do you put it on your Diamondback? It's 500 8-color shirts.
8-color?
Yep.
Cotton rich.
Sure.
Okay. Then probably a pretty good chance it's going on the Polaris.
Okay.
I mean, 8 colors seems
It's
like
literally
I feel like it'd be more on the fence if it was like a 4 color or a 5.
Or what if it was a 1 color? What happens? Does it go on the Diamondback?
Yeah.
At what point does it shift to the Polaris? How many colors?
That is where, like you were talking about earlier, like coming up with scenarios of how you delegate what goes where, right?
Yeah.
It is a matter of doing X amount of exercises and figuring out, what your cost is to do a run of 300 at 5 color, is that, and then it's a lot of averages, and that's where that was going to be the other thing I'd add to what you were discussing earlier is like you are going to just have to set parameters and accept it that maybe in a few cases it would have made more sense to go the other way, but systematically and for the flow of your operation, you got to make a hard rule. So obviously as you get bigger, that becomes, a more pressing issue. Like for us right now, it's case by case. I look at, what our capacity is. Like if I'm absolutely slammed on print on demand stuff, with e-commerce, it's a good chance that, I'll say, hey, we still have our screen printing, operation for a reason, right?
That's true. That's true.
Even if it isn't, even if I find it to not be the most cost effective. We're at a point where we have some options. Like if we, quadruple in size, then yes, I would go exactly what I was saying. I'd make some kind of a matrix with kind of predetermined parameters. Automatically this goes here, automatically this goes there.
That's part of our problem right now is that we're not fully staffed in our transfer department. And so let's say we have an order come through, well, then it's going to require somebody from the design room or somebody from quality control to come over and they get pulled off of what they're doing and then, transfer for 3 hours or whatever. Whereas if we just run it through screen printing, then it just goes through screen printing. But if screen printing is in overtime or, we can't handle it, then it's got to go to back over here. And so it's one of those things like which department is going to do it. And sometimes, like you just said, you just have to look at workload, like who's the busiest and where can we, also, I guess we have to staff properly. We have somebody starting on June 5th that's going to help some things out, but still it's difficult to staff for multiple departments, I guess.
No, it definitely is. We're only doing, screen and digital here. My past place, again, it was everything. And, you would always try to have cross training and crossover, but the reality is, and this was always my argument as to why we had to keep a minimum level in every department, was there's going to be times, undoubtedly, that every single department is at capacity, right? And you're going to need every person that you're not going to be able to steal from one place, to fill another. And so yeah, definitely, as you add different, means of decoration, like that is probably the hardest part is, how do you staff it? Do you go all in and make a full blown, department? And then if you do that, then I guess you go pursue other sales opportunities to try to feed it and justify it. But yeah, that's the name of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were just having, this isn't like a question, but we were just having a discussion this morning about, there were some frustrations with managing in the shop and people's roles as far as, I don't know, like scheduling, and someone wanted to take a day off and this and this. And it was a whole thing where it was like, you guys need to remember, this is like a custom shop. Like we do custom work. Work isn't guaranteed necessarily. Like there's ebbs and flows with schedule and this and this. Like it's hard to say, like when you're trying to pump up your staff and say, okay, we're going to have 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4 weeks out, whatever. But like, we have a holiday weekend coming up and it's like, well, we're going to work this many hours and this many days, or you don't need to work tomorrow, or you need to take time off. It's just like, I had to kind of come back and say, it is what it is to a degree. Like we can't just guarantee everything because shit changes. And one day you might have so many shirts that's just one shirt that it's like, okay, it's all hands on deck for one order. Whereas other days it's like, oh, we did 85 orders today. Yeah, because all of them were like 1 or 2 color prints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like shit changes every fucking day. And it's like, even scheduling, it's like, I can't schedule for the whole week. It's like, no, dude, like every other day you have to like move things around. And it's like, it's constantly a thing in motion.
That's where, so this is been my biggest gripe with our industry as a whole, is how we lack in software. Like all there are a million variables at play, right? And that's why, it's never set in stone. But it's like I just can't believe that something out of the box doesn't exist that can process all those variables and just, I know a lot of the ERPs like have, scheduling, features and stuff. They never, I don't know how many, programs you guys have played around with, but I haven't been, particularly happy with any of them. And it's like, I feel like software is going to be the solution to that. It's like, we need a software that'll be our crystal ball, if you will.
I think we sort of have to, that software has to be customizable though. I mean, because every shop is slightly different. And so that's maybe what makes it so hard, is that you can't just have one for everyone.
So there was one that I was looking at that I liked how they phrased it. Like they literally have this whole, like, I had to go through like what was it, 2 or 3 different like calls, like screening calls, like to see if I was a worthwhile potential, customer of theirs. And it was kind of weird at first, but then I was like, okay, this makes sense. And then the way it was finally explained to me at the end was, we're not a NetSuite. We're not customizable. We're configurable. So meaning, they can make tweaks, but essentially, you have to fit their mold, right? And then they can, in their mold, make adjustments. And, that's what I'm hoping comes along. Because you're right. I mean, every place is different. The mix of business, their how they do their production, just the equipment, but it's I think that's what I'm hoping will happen is
Well, Dylan, back to your thing real quick, because I think it's really important. And that you said that, people that there's ebbs and flows, it's coming in waves, especially this year more than any other year, it seems like. And people are sometimes not flexible, it sounds like. And I experienced that here too. And I think I kind of look at it like this, like we could have a factory that makes like a bolt, and it's just this 2-inch bolt, and that's all we make. And that's what we make every single day. And you make, 1,000 of those. And then you come back the next day and make 1,000 and come back the next day and make 1,000. And that's what you do. And nothing ever changes. And that seems boring as shit. And that's a life of like monotony. And I didn't even know how you could survive a month, Well, here it's the absolute polar opposite. And that we're doing a red shirt or a black shirt or a sweatshirt or a short sleeve or a long sleeve and a different color print or a print on the back or a print on the front or both or a tie dye. Thank God we have all those changes. And then some days, like you just said, we will like a press will print 3,000 shirts, the same print. Other days they'll do 10 orders of different prints. And one is not better than the other. I mean, maybe if you ask the press operators, like, I think if you ask them on one day, they'd say, you know what, today I feel like 3,000 shirts. I have this podcast. It's sick. I want to listen to. The other day, they were like, I don't know, but I can't look at the shirt again. I just want to do 10 different orders and then blah, blah, blah. You will never like find it just perfectly happy. And we do a little bit of moving around, like, so you can move around from press to press. Somebody's had a pet emergency yesterday, a sad one. And so like, they're not here and they were not here today either. And so what does that mean? That means like we're shuffling around and I was on press actually for 2 hours today, which I loved. And that's really cool because I wasn't doing the same thing that I'm always doing. And so I've told this to people here. And when we do performance reviews, we sit down, we talk about that. And we like, look, it's part of the performance review, you circle, and it's your flexibility. Like, how do you adapt to change? Are you like, do you suck? Like, are you like, if we say, hey, by the way,
it says it right on the form. Do you suck?
By the way, instead of doing this, I know we had talked, you were coming in today and you thought you were going to print this order, but actually, no, we're going to be on this press and you're going to do these 3 things. Does it really matter? I mean, shouldn't you be a team player and be like, yeah, let's just make it happen? What do we need to do? Like, let's do it. I'm going to go support that.
And I think the thing is that's the moral of the story. That's where we ended up at the end of this conversation. Like, we went back and forth on a couple things, and really what it turned out to be was, do you want to have a staff of people that are happy to be here, strong ability to adapt to change and just flow with whatever we're doing? And that's kind of where we ended up in this conversation is we have, a certain person who might not have that ability, and
that's okay.
Others that do.
Maybe they're not a good fit. Like, hey, you just need to set them down and say, look, this is how it is here, and it's not going to change. And if that's not, if you don't like that and you're not a good fit here, that's fine. To find a place that just makes 2-inch bolts every day.
Right. I'll refer you to ShirtCon.
Yeah.
Move
to St. Louis.
Right. Exactly. You can go low to Polaris for Charlie. That's all.
There you go.
Yeah, there's your one screw every day, right? Over and over. But we do the same here. And that's actually one thing I like about the whole workflow of like the POD is like, no one is doing the same thing all day, every day. Everyone is doing every station throughout the day. And that was something that was a lot different than, where I was in the past. Like it was, you had set press crews, you had a finishing department. I mean, they might move around, in different areas, but it was a lot of repetition. Like I do think it's kind of cool to, this model allows people to constantly, throughout the day do different tasks and alternate through. Definitely, you can tell they prefer it as well,
Yeah. Andy, do you have any more hypotheticals, or do you have an AI question?
That's it. I had a chat GPT question, but it's long.
Is it good?
Well, I think so. Good enough that I included it. Yeah, it's okay. On a 1 to 10, I'd give it a
So Charlie, if you don't know, we try to
6.
throw in a hypothetical, which we already did, and then we try to ask Chat GPT if like a question, and it's AI asking us. So let's.
All right.
I guess what is it? What is the question?
Well, we can make it shorter, but I asked about how do you improve work culture? And it gave 10 things. So like we can shorten it though. It says improving work culture is an
This isn't a
important...
question. This is just what the internet says is how to improve work culture.
Yeah. And then we could
Okay.
ask how you think we should. Or we could. But improving work culture is an important goal for many organizations as it can lead to increased productivity, employee satisfaction, and overall success. And then it starts to list some strategies. The first one is foster open communication. And I think that's maybe what you were just touching on, like, hey, talk to your team. And if somebody doesn't like being flexible, then they're the wrong fit, that sort of stuff. But that's the problem, is that you have to create channels of feedback and you have to have suggestions and trust and collaboration and all of this stuff. And how often are you checking in with your team? Because some people are going to be there frustrated and not say anything. And so that communication needs to be open. And I think maybe that's the most important part, is as foster open communication. Next is lead by example. Do you do that, Dylan? Do you do that, Charlie?
So I know you do it. You got it on press today, right?
Yeah, true. I was also vacuuming our rug in the front because there was like shit all over it. And so I got out the vacuum and vacuumed.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset of I'm willing to do any job I ask anyone to do here. I'm willing to do myself. So I agree with that.
I love how you leave your fucking office to go vacuum shit off a rug, and then you look at everybody like, see, I'm one of you. And then you turn around and go back in your office.
Exactly what I did. Encourage teamwork and collaboration, promote a collaborative work environment where individuals can work together, share ideas, and support one another. How do you guys do with that?
I feel like that's pretty accurate to us. We're all kind of on the same team for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. Gotta have a group of problem solvers, right?
I just feel like there's a lot of drama involved with that as well, though. You hear more things than you want to hear to a degree.
So on our performance review, I'm doing a bunch of them right now because we do so many. Typically we hire in the spring most, the time. And so we have a lot of work anniversaries happening. On the way I do our performance reviews, I've changed it over the years. And all I have are what are 2 most significant accomplishments you had last year? And then what are 2 biggest goals for this coming year? Then I say about you, and I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. And I have about us, and I have the same amount of things. And one of the things I have on here, it says, how well do we listen to suggestions and solve problems? And I think that sort of ties into what we were just talking about. Now I kind of forgot what we were talking about, but this is the next one. How well do we provide recognition for a job well done? And this is number 5 that they recommend. Is it says recognize and appreciate achievements. I don't think we do a very good job of that. I used to hand out like gift cards randomly when to say, hey, this is like, you guys, let's say somebody did something they went beyond expectations. They did something really cool. Then I had something to give them instead of just hey, good job, And so I think we need to do a better job of that. And how often, and I know Dylan, you're smiling because you maybe have an idea about sending cookies or something you're going to say, but like, what else do you like? What do you do, Charlie?
Yeah, I definitely have done the gift card model or even just like a little cash, on the side. It's, I do always try to make it a point, just verbally at the very least, to make sure to recognize people and use the situation, as an example to others. But probably could do a better job.
What do we do? Like right now, let's think like what, because we were literally, the reason why I was smiling is we were literally talking about this at basketball today. Like I was saying that for not to talk about an organization that I'm working with, one of the things they do is they send us gift cards, like Visa gift cards, as like when you go on this trip, this is your money to spend kind of thing. So I have a bunch of these fucking gift cards that I never spend. They just sit here at my desk, like hundreds of dollars in gift cards. And Bill was like, "Oh, you should give those to me, and I'll give them to the crew, and like they do something really well or whatever." But like, when do you actually do that? Like, what are you rewarding? And then if you give it to one person, is it going to piss off somebody else because they didn't get it or whatever? Like, what is being rewarded?
So I can tell you, like in New Hampshire, it was a much larger shop, a lot more people, and yeah, just more personalities, if you will, than what I have down here. So it was a lot more complicated. There was a lot of that. You know, you do a nice gesture, you know, you're guaranteed 10% of the people will be like, "Oh, that person getting this." You know, I do what they do, and it's like, well, no, you don't. You know, I mean.
Right.
If you did, I'd be rewarding you. It's, you know,
right. Like, are you trying to do one nice thing and it bites you in the ass and you end up with 10 more shitty things?
100% can, but I guess at the end of the day, you know, more often than not, like it definitely would motivate some people to step up. You know, whether they did it for a prolonged period or not. You know, it was always an unknown. But I think I'd say it was probably about like 10% of the people just looked at it as a negative, like, well, of course this person got it and I didn't, right? But you know, it's usually those people, like, you know, they're their own worst enemy, right? And they don't really see reality, and so I'd say, you know, in the end, I think it's a good thing to do. You know, as long as you're sure you have,
you're fair. That's one thing.
And the people that are making the decisions, you know, are really in the know, and obviously, you know, not partial to a set individual or group.
I have an example. So you know how we added 401k? I had two people here help implement it because one she came from a bank and she kind of knows her accounting. And then the other is really great at handling projects and talking to the team. And so these two people, they took care of this implementation. Well, what I'm going to do for them, because it's like, goes beyond their scope of normally like their job description, I guess, even though it was kind of fun for them because they're like, "Hey, I get to go do this instead. You know, this is cool." And I'm helping my coworkers get sign up for 401k. I'm going to give them my, credit card and they can go get lunch. Like, lunch is on us.
Here's my credit card.
Maybe that's not enough, but it's a gesture of, just instead of them doing it, you have to remember that.
So it shouldn't be for daily tasks, like doing their job. Basically, it should be for above and beyond, like when they did something without being asked, or if
maybe I don't know,
or learned a new skill, or
I think maybe both. I think that it's important when they do something that goes beyond what they really have to do. That's important to recognize and acknowledge, but also, you know, so often we're huddling up when there's a problem and they messed up and they're like, "Oh, well, like you messed up 10 shirts and what are we going to do?" or something. I think we have to remember to, when there is a kick-ass print at the end of the dryer, to huddle up and say, "Man, that looks awesome. Pizza's on me," or whatever, you know? And that's just their job. Their job is to make it look awesome. Mm-hmm. Why are you smiling? Like, do you disagree, or you think that's the way?
No, I agree. It's just that meme that goes around of like, instead of giving you a raise, it's like what is it? Flex Seal, the Flex Seal guy, where he has the hole in the bucket and he's like, "Pizza party." Like, you know what I mean?
So, okay, fine. But in reality,
no, I agree with you. I think it's good. It's just,
there's no
reminded
raise.
me.
Like here, I don't know how you do it, or I don't know how Wallflower does it, but here there's performance reviews once a year, and that's when you get a raise. It's on your work anniversary. The only other way to get a raise is to cross train and take on an additional role, and most of the time that's not occurring. And so I don't think you go throughout your year saying, "Oh, I did really good and this print looks great, I deserve a raise." I think you know that when your annual review comes around, that you will get a raise. I mean,
I agree with you.
Good.
I think that's all good. I think.
And so why not do a pizza party, or why not have a barbecue, or why not?
Can.
I mean, fuck that meme. I mean, it's either that or nothing. It's that or nothing. Like, I don't know.
I get it. I understand. I think the long and short is I should pull them out. I should have them available, maybe give them to him and say, "Hey, if somebody does go above and beyond and something, above our expectations, let me know, and we'll decide if it's something where we pull them aside and say, 'Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you. Here's a gift card.'"
That is, according to Chat GPT,
It's the way
that's
to
how
go.
you should do it. Okay.
Right,
Don't
okay.
don't listen to me though.
Okay.
This is a computer.
Mhm.
Smarter. Let me see. I think that's about it. We can go on to the next. Oh, there's I guess the last thing I should say is promote work-life balance.
Meh.
Yeah. I mean, that's when we have to be flexible, and when somebody needs off, they need off. I have right now we're getting ready to go. June is like the month it seems that people are going to be gone on summer vacations, and I have a lot of full weeks coming up where people are gone, and we're going to have to make it work, during that. But guess what? They're going to come back. I think most of them are going to Florida, by the way, but they're going to come back with a little tan and a smile on their face and relaxed and totally reset. And if they don't do that, it's horrible. I think you need breaks.
All right. Well, Andy, do you want to do quick takes?
We can do quick takes, and there's a couple of really good ones in there.
Actually, hold on. Sorry, I forgot. I gotta ask Jeff's question.
I saw that.
Let's see. Jeff says it was great to meet you and chat a bit at the Accelerate. Second, after Accelerate, have your plans for implementing more digital productions changed at all?
Yep.
So did going there make you want to do something over doing something else?
No, not necessarily. I think it was something like that was much needed, for our industry. Like, not obviously they're trying to sell stuff, but it wasn't like the full blown trade show environment. So I think if anything, like just talking to people that weren't necessarily, running a Polaris, and like, just seeing people's eyes open, to where the technology's at. Like, if anything, just kind of reassured me of, it's okay to be moving in this direction. Yeah.
Like, you felt going to something like that, having other people in the same room that had a Polaris, like you made the right decision.
Yeah. And then even people that obviously, either hadn't seen it or hadn't seen one intimately. It's like, hearing reactions and, people talking about how they don't necessarily have the customer base, for it, but, how could they use it, in their current environment, or how could they, change the way, their clients are ordering, things like that. So, I mean, and obviously it was a big group of well-established, companies. And I feel like, Andy, I'm curious, I mean, do you get similar vibes, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I went. I have a new appreciation for digital, especially the Polaris. It feels almost identical to screen print. It looks, for sure, from the normal distance of like 3 feet away, if you're somebody standing there, I couldn't tell. It looks fantastic. It's really good. I mean, I just wish it were like, half the price, or less than, like half of half. I wish it was half of half the price, somewhere in there. But yeah, I mean, it was a great event. I think they need to do that same event for, like, the people, like the common people.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was only invited because I complained, like I called up there like a bitch and was like,
you're the
okay,
squeaky wheel for sure.
Like, I can't even believe that, you're gonna like forget about me. And they're like, oh God, okay, whatever. I think we have one more ticket. And then I went up there, and I was like the smallest shop. I don't have anything digital here. But yet I saw what I saw, and it's phenomenal. It's come a long way. It wasn't that way just a couple of years ago.
Literally just a couple of years ago. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Okay, first one.
Quick takes. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be quick. 3 things you do to start your day.
3 things I do to start my day. Make a piece of toast, I make a coffee, and I smoke a cigarette.
Okay.
What is the toast? You know, like a whole wheat or like a grain, 12 grain, or is it just a white bread?
Something super healthy to offset the cigarette.
No, I actually not even. It's like
Wonder Bread with like the thickest amount of butter.
Cinnamon bread, something or other. But I keep it one piece and I put a little peanut butter on it. Yeah.
Oh, peanut butter. That's like a good move. So you've got something in there.
Right?
Yeah.
What is this question, Annie? What would be an unhappy meal for you? Is that just food he doesn't like?
Yeah, it's like if instead of ordering a happy meal, you order an unhappy meal. Like what would that be?
What's the one food that normal people get that disgusts you? Would be
raw oysters for sure.
Yeah, fuck that.
I'm not down with that.
That's gross.
It's definitely a thing down here. Like, you know,
it's like a meaty booger.
Really? I mean,
you're not supposed to chew them, right? You're just supposed to,
which I don't understand. Then you taste it. That's like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I fully agree with this. My dad's that person, like raw clams, raw oysters, all that stuff. It's like, dude, you're disgusting.
Yeah, for real.
I'm with you. That is a definite unhappy meal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Well, this one's catered to you. Would you rather get bit by a shark or an alligator?
Ooh. There's a lot of thought that needs to go into that. That's not a quick take. You kidding? A lot to consider.
Yeah, but what's your gut instinct? They're both fucking terrifying.
Swim, so I'm not a swimmer. So I guess, I guess I'd have to go an alligator, right? At least be on the.
I don't know. Honestly don't know the difference between like a gator and a crocodile. I guess like they don't have crocodiles.
No,
it's gators in Florida.
Crocodiles are isn't it one's saltwater, one's freshwater? Like the crocodiles are saltwater.
I don't know. We're gonna have a lot of comments on this. Like
I know there's crocodiles in like Australia, and crocodiles are huge.
But either way, like I follow stuff like that on Instagram where I see like crazy animal shit. Usually it's like gators or whatever. And you ever see the ones where like they catch like a zebra or a fucking hog or something, and it just does this quick like flip snatch thing, and it rips the creature in half.
It's the alligator roll.
Yeah. It's a roll.
But it's not even the roll. It's like there's one where it literally has like I think it's a pig in its mouth or something, a boar or something, and it just does this really fast like flip thing with its head, and it literally rips the animal in half. And I'm just like, there's no getting away from it. Like,
by the way, I was correct. Crocodiles are typically saltwater.
Okay. Thank you for fact checking.
You're welcome.
Okay, cool.
So here's what I think. I think that a shark bite is they're in and they're out. Like they bite and then that's the bite. I think a gator is gonna bite and do one of those neck things that you just talked about, or do the spin, and then it's just gonna wrangle up your leg into it, twist it into like a mess.
You don't think the shark's gonna latch on, just take you down with it?
Dude, the thing with the shark is like I would rather be bit by the gator because I'm not as scared to be there. I'm way more psychologically terrified to be in the open fucking water of the ocean and having something come up and be like, I'm gonna bite you.
100%. You're in its world. Like
it's not even the bite that scares me. It's just sitting in the water.
Yeah, you don't belong there at all.
No, yeah, fuck that shit. Get away, get out of here. Different world. People stop swimming in the ocean, you fucking idiots.
That's it.
Stupid. Okay, sorry, I'm all fucking riled up now.
Question. I agree.
What are you watching? We shortened it to what are you watching right now, but like, is there anything that you're listening to, watching, or that you're really into right now?
Just for like entertainment?
Yeah, like a movie or a show that you're watching or a book you're reading.
I don't know why. I was told about the show a long time ago, and I've done this with every good show, right?
You put it off.
I finally watched Sopranos for the first time last year. Breaking Bad I didn't watch until about 2 years ago, and now I'm watching Succession. It's a pretty good show.
Yeah, the show's good. It's just really stressful.
It's we're what? We just got into like second season, like maybe third episode or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good show. There's a couple new shows that I've recently started that I really like. There's one called The Silo on Apple TV. seems super good so far. I watched the first episode of that Seth Rogen show from Apple last night. That one's pretty good. What else is there? I feel like there's one other one that I've been watching. Oh, Ted Lasso. I'm just catching up on. But Andy, is there anything new that you and Joe watched?
We're just still with Barry right now.
Mm.
It's there's a lot, and we don't watch much
An episode
TV,
a week.
So, yeah, though I think we just basically watch TV on the weekends and probably catch 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5. And so it's going to take us a few more weeks. All right.
All right. Finish her off.
What is for Din Din?
What is for what?
What's for dinner?
It's for dinner. Oh, actually, no, I do know. Chicken pot pie.
Oh, fuck yeah. Homemade or like from a box?
No, and it's kind of embarrassing because I do cook every night. But I had a little guilt trip. My mom was telling me she was making a homemade chicken pot pie. And of course, the weather down here doesn't really lend itself to a chicken pot pie. But I was like, you know what, that sounds good. And then I saw Marie Callender's chicken pot pie in the freezer section at Publix. And I'm like, I'm going to get that.
Dude, I have like a Sam's Club box of it in my freezer. It's
Nice.
like, I don't know, it's like 18 of them or something.
I literally haven't had one in so long. I'm actually like, I even, my wife works here too. And I even told her, I was like, hey, just a reminder, we're having chicken pot pie. She's like,
Oh,
okay. Yeah,
That's
I'm
amazing.
pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, seriously. Well, thanks, dude, for coming on and doing this with us. We really appreciate it. It's nice to get fresh thoughts on the digital world, and you definitely had a different take than we've kind of had in a while. So we really appreciate it.
Cool. No, I appreciate you guys having me. And yeah, good time.
Thanks, man. Well, have a good rest of your day, and we'll catch you sometime soon.
Enjoy
All right.
that
See you
chicken pot
guys.
pie.
Later, dude.
Take care.